president emphasized unity during his State of the Union address last night. For more about the State of the Union, we go to Karen Kaifa.
The agenda I will lay out this evening is not a Republican agenda or a Democrat agenda. It's the agenda of the American people.
On a contentious Capitol Hill, the president preached unity.
Together we can break decades of political stalemate.
To a divided Congress, with Democratic Speaker Nancy Pelosi over his shoulder and scores of newly elected women watching in front of him. Many critical of the president's demand for border wall funding that led to the longest government shutdown in history. The chamber also held Democrats competing with Trump in 2020 for the highest office in the land.
An economic miracle is taking place in the United States, and the only thing that can stop it are foolish wars, politics, or ridiculous partisan investigations.
Still, President Trump touched on bipartisan topics like infrastructure projects, cutting the cost of prescription drugs, and ending HIV in the U.S.
An amazing quality of life for all of our citizens is within reach.
Trump also touted his foreign policy agenda.
We must be united at home to defeat our adversaries abroad.
Now, the president and Congress have until February 15th to work together to keep the government funded. On Capitol Hill, I'm Karen Kaifa.
Last Friday, the Trump administration said that the U.S. will begin formally withdrawing from the Cold War-era arms control accord called the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty. This bold move by the U.S. prompted Russia to announce their own withdrawal last Saturday. In a tweet following the announcement, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo stated that the administration had been expecting this for months. Pompeo also said, "To this day, Russia remains in material breach of its treaty obligations not to produce, possess, flight test a ground-launched intermediate-range cruise missile system with a range between 500 and 5,500 kilometers." President Trump added on Friday that the U.S. cannot be the only country in the world unilaterally bound by this treaty or any other. In Moscow on Saturday, Putin said that Russia will continue to move forward in their development of land-based intermediate-range systems, but will not deploy their missiles unless the U.S. deploys something similar. Despite a fear of a growing arms race between the two superpowers, NATO has expressed its support for the U.S. in an announcement. Allies regret that Russia, as a part of its broader pattern of behavior, continues to deny its INF treaty violation, refuses to provide any credible response, and has taken no demonstrable steps toward returning to full and verifiable compliance.
Governor Ralph Northam faces controversy as racist photos are resurfacing. We go to Emily Schmidt for more.
Virginia Governor Ralph Northam avoided cameras but could not avoid more controversy about this racist photo on his page in his decades-old medical school yearbook.
As you know, the past EVMS yearbooks have contained shockingly abhorrent pictures.
The president and provost of Eastern Virginia Medical School says the school will investigate a pattern of racist photos over the years. Northam said Friday when the photo surfaced he was in it. Then Saturday he denied it, though admitted he dressed in blackface one other time. Northam vows to stay in office, even as Democrats in his state and nationally continue to call on him to step down.
The key thing right now is Governor Northam needs to resign.
Yet the person who would replace Northam, Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax, faces his own controversy. The same conservative blog that first shared the yearbook photo published an article saying Fairfax sexually assaulted a woman at the 2004 Democratic National Convention. Fairfax denies the allegations, calling the encounter consensual. A source tells CNN the woman making the accusation has now hired the Washington, D.C. legal team, which represented Christine Blasey Ford during Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh's nomination hearings. Meanwhile, a senior advisor tells CNN Northam signed a bill Tuesday giving Amazon millions of dollars in subsidies to move to Northern Virginia. He is working through political chaos. I'm Emily Schmidt reporting.
In the midst of UK and European Union Brexit talks, a lot has been discussed, including the backstop. In short, the backstop means that there will be no tariffs on trade goods between the UK and the EU, as well as some restrictions being removed. But in Northern Ireland's case, they have expressed interest in aligning themselves with EU's single market to maintain the open border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. This decision will lead to more checks on goods entering into Northern Ireland from the rest of the UK. This has some worried about the implications of the backstop clause for Ireland. We go to Nick Robertson-Walsh, who has more on the subject.
It's a big week for Ireland's politicians with Brexit. The Prime Minister's going to Brussels, the Deputy Prime Minister's going to the United States. The week begins with the Europe Affairs Minister bringing the Dutch Foreign Minister here to the border between North and South to take a look.
Okay, who wants to go first?
Britain has asked the European Union to soften its position on the backstop. Is that possible?
Well, the backstop is not there because the European Union asked for a backstop, but because the UK has drawn a number of red lines, like not wanting a customs union, not wanting a border in the Irish Sea. So after 2.5 years of negotiation, it's not very realistic to expect that there will be a completely different outcome.
An hour earlier, I asked the Irish minister that same question. I got the same answer. Can you not soften the backstop?
The backstop is not something that we can compromise on. This is based on commitments that were given by the UK. This is based on commitments not just in terms of the Brexit negotiations last December and many times since then by the Prime Minister. This is based on an international peace treaty, which the UK are co-guarantors of and which they've repeatedly said that they want to protect. So what we're asking for is that they fulfil the commitments that they've made. This is a deal that was negotiated with the UK, by the UK. They were very much a part of these discussions for the past 2 years.
Can you help me understand the level of frustration that exists with the British position as we get closer to the deadline?
Well, of course, it is extremely serious in its consequences if there would be a no-deal Brexit. It will be extremely serious here where we are now, on the border that isn't a border between the Irish Republic and Northern Ireland. The consequence will also be very serious for the Netherlands, as we are one of the largest trading partners of the UK. So it's extremely important that we will agree on a negotiated Brexit.
As the Minister has said, we've spent 2 years looking at every possibility, and what we have come up with is the backstop. It was negotiated with the UK, by the UK, and in its current format. There are concessions on both sides, but we are almost 2 weeks on and we have yet to see any proposals that we believe would work.
Their border meeting, an object lesson for the UK in joined-up thinking and the EU's firm position. Likely a lot more high-profile visits to the border like this one before the issue of Brexit, the backstop, and what's to become of this highly contentious border between Northern Ireland and the Irish Republic. Nick Robertson, CNN, on the border between Northern Ireland and the Irish Republic.